Didn't know a moment could stay this long. I still remember how you turned your head like you had nowhere else to be. The light was falling slow across your face, and somehow it found me. You didn't say a single perfect line, but everything felt right. The quiet held us in between the middle of the afternoon light. And I was standing there with words I couldn't say, afraid that if I breathed too loud, you might just walk away. So I held my heart in shaking hands and let your name fall through. Every small and fragile part of me was reaching out to you. And in that pause, the world stood still, like it was meant to stay. I think that's when I fell for you, the day your smile stayed. The sky was quiet, soft and wide, like it already knew something gentle had begun. The second I met you, you looked at me like time was slow, like we had always been. Two unfinished sentences, learning where to begin. And I was scared to move, but more scared not to try. So I let the silence break and place my truth between the lines. I said your name with trembling breath, like it might disappear. Every hidden piece of who I was suddenly so clear. And in your eyes I found a place I didn't have to hide. I think that's when I first believed you were already mine. Even now it lingers on like it never left at all. Years have come and quietly gone, like pages turning thin. But that small, unguarded afternoon still echoes deep within. I've tried to name 1,000 things that time has taken away, but somehow it could never touch the day your smile stayed. If I could speak to who I was standing in that light, I'd tell her not to be afraid of what would change her life. That love can live in just one glance and never fade away. That even when the world moves on, some moments choose to stay. So I hold that day inside my chest like something softly glowing. Every quiet memory of you is something still worth knowing. And though we've drifted far apart in ways I cannot say, there's one truth time could never take, the day your smile stayed. I still remember how you looked at me, like I was already yours. And maybe in that single breath I was, the day your smile stayed, never fades away. paper trembled in the silence when I tried to find a word for you. I remember standing by the window, holding something I could never start. All the simple things I meant to tell you stayed a letter in my heart. Maybe some feelings grow too wide for lines. Maybe some moments live between the signs. If you ever feel a quiet wind tonight, if a memory softly calls your name, that might be the words I could not say. Drifting slowly through the rain, I was always closer than it seemed. Even when we stood apart, all the love I could not give to you lives as a letter in my heart. There was once a trembling evening when the sky turned slowly into blue. I almost spoke the truth I carried, almost turned and walked to you. But your smile was soft and unsuspecting, like a dream I feared would fall apart. So I kept my quiet constellation folded safely in my heart. Maybe some stories bloom and stay unseen, like hidden colors in between. If you ever hear a distant call at night, if a memory warms the darkened sky, that might be the voice I left for you, floating where the moments lie. Was always closer than it seemed, even when we stood apart. All the love I could not give to you lives as a letter in my heart. I was young when I first felt it, the quiet spark beneath my breath. Every step I walked beside you felt like balancing with fate. If I could return to that first moment when your eyes first met my own, maybe then the words would find me. Maybe then you'd finally know. If you ever feel a quiet wind tonight, if a memory gently lights the dark, that will be the truth I carried then, shining softly like a spark. I was always closer than it seemed, even when we stood apart. All the love I could not give to you lives forever in my heart. All the words I never dared to send, every trembling silent part, they remain a quiet promise now, as a letter in my heart. So if someday you remember me in a moment passing by, know the words I never gave to you still live quietly inside, just a letter in my heart. was resting softly on the street. You said my name the way you always did, but something different moved in me. No one saw the moment pass us by. Nothing in the world seemed new. Still my quiet heart began to glow. In the second I heard you, I tried to tell myself it was only a passing light, but every little breath I took was leaning towards your side. That was when my heart grew brighter, like the morning after rain. Such a small and simple moment, yet my world would change that day. You were only standing near me, speaking like you always do. No one else could ever see it, but that was when I first knew. I walked home beneath the quiet sky, carrying a feeling I could not name. Every step was lighter than before, every star looked just the same. Still I held the sound of you with me, like a light I couldn't lose. Every time your name would cross my mind, my whole heart would softly move. Maybe it was always there, hidden somewhere deep inside, waiting for a simple word to finally open wide. That was when my heart grew brighter, like the morning after rain. Such a small and silent moment, yet my world would change that day. You were only standing near me, speaking like you always do. Nothing in the world looked different, but that was when I first knew. If I could return to that small second, I would stand there just the same, holding every quiet feeling when you softly said my name. Even now the memory lingers, warm and clear, shining through, of the gentle spark that found me in the moment that I knew. That was when my heart grew brighter, brighter than the evening sky. From the smallest fragile feeling came a love I could not hide. You were only close beside me, nothing else around us grew. Still the world began to open in the moment that I knew. Yes, the world began to open in the moment that I knew. It was just a quiet second, no one else around us knew, but my heart has held it gently since the day I first knew. The air was gentle, everything felt new. Morning light resting softly on you. You walked beside me without a word. Still somehow every feeling was heard. Petals drifting slowly through the sky. Time moved softer when you were nearby. I held my thoughts like fragile glass, hoping the moment would never pass. I wanted to say what my heart had known, but quiet hope was all I had shown. Your shadow touching close to mine, like two small stars learning to shine. That spring I still remember, every silent shining day. Your steps beside my footsteps in a quiet golden way. I try to tell you slowly, though my voice was trembling through. The first love blooming softly was a heart that leaned to you. Afternoon sunlight across your face, the world felt like a kinder place. You turned and smiled so suddenly, and all the sky opened inside me. I spoke your name so quietly, afraid of what the truth might be. Yet even now the wind still knows how softly that confession rose. The trembling words I try to say still drift through time in gentle ways. Even the years cannot erase that quiet moment in that place. That spring I still remember, every silent shining day. Your steps beside my footsteps in a quiet golden way. I try to tell you slowly, though my voice was trembling through. The first love blooming softly was a heart that leaned to you. Maybe seasons fade and wander far, maybe dreams grow quiet where they are, but somewhere in the turning sky, that gentle day is passing by. And if you ever think of me where the early blossoms used to be, you might still feel the tender air and know my heart was waiting there. That spring I still remember, every light and every view. The quiet road we wandered under skies of tender blue. The words I gave you trembling still feel honest, still feel true. The first love blooming softly was my heart reaching to you. That spring I still remember, though the years have traveled far. A gentle day still shining like a never fading star. Even now when spring returns, I feel the air we knew, and somewhere in that quiet light my heart still walks with you. I remember how the evening slowly fell, golden light across the quiet street. You were standing close enough to touch, but my heart stayed carefree asleep. I had carried read simple words for you, all the way through endless summer days. Yet the moment that you looked at me, all my courage slowly slipped away. Every silence held 1,000 dreams. Every glance felt warmer than the sun. I was standing right beside your world, still afraid of what I might become. There were words I couldn't say to you, resting quietly inside my chest. Every heartbeat tried to let them through, but the silence always knew me best. If you ever wonder what I felt in the moments when our eyes would stay, you were always every hidden thought. You were all the words I couldn't say. Autumn came and carried time away, falling leaves across the paths we knew. Every step I took without your voice left a quiet space that once held you. Sometimes when the evening air grows still, I remember how your laughter stayed, like a light that softly fills a room, long after the day begins to fade. If the past could open like a door, I would walk back to that fragile day. Maybe then my trembling heart would find all the courage that had slipped away. There were words I couldn't say to you, living somewhere deep within my chest. Every heartbeat tried to let them through, but the silence always knew me best. If you ever wonder what I felt in the moments when our eyes would stay, you were always every hidden thought. You were all the words I couldn't say. Maybe love is sometimes quiet, like a star before the dawn, shining softly in the distance, even when the night moves on. And if somehow you remember all the days we let drift by, you might hear the gentle whisper of the truth I held inside. There were words I couldn't say to you, carried through the slowly passing years. Every memory still speaks of you through the quiet language of my tears. If our paths should ever cross again in a place where faded moments stay, you might see it in my waiting eyes. You were all the words I couldn't say. Even now my heart remembers you softly, where the silent feelings stay. Somewhere in the quiet of my soul live the words I couldn't say. quiet streets and fading golden light. You were standing where the small road turned, and the wind was soft around your smile. You laughed like the world was simple and kind, like nothing could ever fall apart. And somehow that light reached me too, before I knew it touched my heart. I didn't know what love could be, I didn't know where it might lead, but something in your quiet eyes was already calling me. The light in your eyes stayed with me that night, like a small star quietly burning. The light in your eyes still lives in my mind, even when the seasons keep turning. I didn't say the words I felt, I only stood there shy and still. But in the silence of that moment, my heart had found its will. Days went by like pages in the wind, but your voice would visit in my mind. Every little memory remained, gentle, quiet, warm, and kind. Sometimes I wonder if you knew how fast my quiet world had changed. Just one simple laugh from you made everything feel rearranged. I held those words inside my chest, afraid to let them fly away. But every step that brought you close made them harder not to say. The light in your eyes stayed with me that night, like a small star quietly burning. The light in your eyes still lives in my mind, even when the seasons keep turning. If I could go back to that place where the evening sky was blue, I would gather all my courage just to say these words to you. Maybe love begins this way, in a quiet, fragile start. One small moment in the dark, lighting every hidden part. And even now I still believe some memories never fade, because the way you looked that day is the brightest light I've known. The light in your eyes still guides me tonight, like a star that never disappears. The light in your eyes lives deep in my life, shining through the passing years. If my voice is shaking now, it's because the truth is clear. From that simple laugh you gave, my heart has lived right here. The light in your eyes was where my story began. I never forgot that day. I still remember the silence when you left. The evening light was fading on the steps. You didn't say the words I hoped to hear, but somehow everything was clear. I watched the distance grow between our hands, like something neither heart could understand. A quiet moment drifting slowly by, the day we learned our first goodbye. And maybe you never knew how loud the quiet felt that night, your shadow fading from my sight. Time moved on, but not my heart, not the way it was before. Some memories refuse to fade, they stay behind an open door. If you ever think of me when the sky turns pale and blue, just know the love I felt that day still remembers you. Years have passed like pages in the wind. New roads appeared where we had been, but sometimes in the quiet afternoon, your name returns too soon. I wonder if you felt it too, that fragile hope we almost knew, the trembling breath before the truth, the courage of our youth. I thought the feeling would fade like footprints after the rain, but some things remain. Time moved on, but not my heart, not the way it was before. Some memories refuse to fade, they stay behind an open door. If you ever think of me when the sky turns pale and blue, just know the love I felt that day still remembers you. I never blamed the way we changed or how the moment slipped away. Some loves are only meant to bloom for just a single day. But even now I softly find a quiet warmth I can't deny. The first time love had touched my life was our first goodbye. Time moved on, but not my heart, not the dream I held that night. Some feelings never truly leave, they live beneath the light. If you ever hear my name somewhere in a passing view, remember love was born that day when I first said goodbye to you. I still remember the silence when you left. For just a second, time stood still, and somewhere in that quiet space, my heart remembers still. Didn't say a single word that day. We stood there in the quiet afternoon, Nothing in the air had changed at all, but something moved inside my heart. I try to act the way I always do, like nothing new was happening to me. But when your eyes found mine that moment, I felt a world begin to turn. It wasn't loud, it wasn't clear, no promise spoken in the air, but something soft inside my chest was waking slowly there. It was the way you looked at me, like you already knew my heart, before the words could even start, before I understood my own. It was the way you looked at me, so quiet I could barely breathe. And in that silent memory, my heart had already said yes. You asked me something simple then, a question anyone could say. I answered like it meant nothing, but my voice had changed somehow. I walked away and told myself that maybe I imagined it, but all the way back home that night, your eyes were still with me. No sudden sign, no grand display, just something gently pulling me. And in your eyes I felt the truth before I dare believe. It was the way you looked at me, like time had quietly slowed down, like every sound had faded out and left just you and me alone. It was the way you looked at me, so warm and scared my careful heart. And in that fragile little spark, a new beginning had begun. Maybe you don't remember it, just an ordinary day to you, but I still see that moment clear, like sunlight in a quiet room. Because the first time love appears, it never needs 1,000 words. One gentle look is sometimes all the waiting heart has ever heard. It was the way you looked at me, like you could see the hidden me, the one I never let anyone see, the one still learning how to hope. It was the way you looked at me, so softly I could barely stand. And in that quiet, fragile glance, my whole heart reached for yours. Yes, it was the way you looked at me that day you never even knew. I think my heart fell quietly the moment your eyes met mine. You didn't say anything that day, but somehow my heart heard everything. The night is calm again tonight, and time moves slow and kind. Some days fade like drifting clouds and leave no trace behind. But one small light within my heart still softly finds its way. A quiet scene from long ago, a moment that stayed. You stood beside the fading day, not knowing what to say. my heart beat in the hush while golden light turned gray. I try to hide the trembling words that almost slipped away, but in the silence of that dusk my heart began to say, if I could keep one fragile scene from all that life has made, it would be you, that quiet smile, and the chance I almost gave. Some moments fade into the sky like clouds that slowly stray, but one small memory of you has never gone away. I spoke your name with shaking hope, not knowing what you'd say, yet in that fragile shining breath a moment stayed. Years I've walked their winding roads through laughter and through rain. So many days have come and gone like whispers on a train. But sometimes in the quiet dark, when silver lights appear, I hear that trembling voice again and feel you standing near. The world kept turning endlessly and seasons slowly swayed, but in my heart that single night was never swept away. Some moments fade into the sky like clouds that drift away, but one small memory of you still softly wants to stay. I gave my heart with quiet hope, not knowing what you'd say, yet in that fragile shining breath a moment stayed. Did you know my voice was shaking when I finally spoke your name? Did you see the silent promise hidden in that gentle flame? Even if the years grow distant and our paths no longer cross, that first brave whisper of my heart is never truly lost. Some moments vanish with the wind and slowly fade to gray, but one small memory of you still lights my quiet way. The night I place my trembling heart inside the words I gave will live within these silent stars forever. A moment that stayed. Some nights I close my eyes and smile at what we dared to say, because within my quiet heart a moment stayed. I stood where the evening slowly turned to gold, watching the quiet road we used to know. I told myself I would not stay too long, but time moved gently and I stayed alone. The air was calm, the sky was slowly fading, a little colder than I thought it would be. Yet in my heart a small light kept on saying, like the world was holding something near. I remember waiting longer than I planned, holding quiet hope inside my hands, and every second slowly drifted by, but it never felt like lonely time, because somewhere in the falling light I believed your steps would find me there, and every breath inside that silent day carried the hope that you still cared. People passed and shadows grew around me. The sky turned silver over distant trees. I wondered if the moment had already slipped away so quietly. Still I stayed where we once stood together, tracing memories in my mind. Your voice was like a hidden summer, somewhere I was sure I'd find. Even when the daylight slipped away, hope was softly asking me to stay. I remember waiting longer than I planned, holding quiet hope inside my hands, and every second slowly drifted by, but it never felt like lonely time, because somewhere in the fading light I believed your steps would find me there, and every breath inside that silent day carried the hope that you still care. Maybe love begins in moments like this, standing still between doubt and wish, where the heart decides without a sound that some dreams are worth waiting around. And if you never knew that I was there, still that day became a truth I share. I remember waiting longer than I planned, holding all my courage in my hands, and every second slowly drifted by, like a quiet promise in the sky, because loving you was never wasted time. Even in the silence of that place, every heartbeat whispered soft and clear, I would wait to see your face. Yes, I waited through the falling light, certain you would find me there, and every breath inside that endless day carried the hope that you still cared. So if you ever ask me where love stayed, it lived inside the day I waited, and somewhere in that quiet air my heart is still standing there. The evening settled softly on the road, your footsteps slowing next to mine. You looked at me like you might speak, but left the fragile moment undefined. The sky was fading into quiet blue, a breath between the day and night. You never said the words I hoped, but something in your eyes felt right. I felt my heart begin to tremble in the stillness where we stood. No promise spoken out loud, yet somehow I understood. You never promised anything that day, no vow beneath the fading sky, but the silence wrapped around us like a truth we didn't try. And even now I hear it softly every time the world grows still. Sometimes silence holds a promise stronger than a voice ever will. I remember how the air felt warm, though night was drifting through the trees. Your quiet smile stayed with me like a secret carried on the breeze. I almost told you everything, the way my heart had come alive, but fear and wonder held my voice in that fragile space between our lives. Your hand moved close beside mine, close enough to almost touch. No word was needed in that moment to say we felt so much. You never promised anything that day, no vow beneath the fading sky, but the silence wrapped around us like a truth we didn't try. And even now I hear it softly every time the world grows still. Sometimes silence holds a promise stronger than a voice ever will. If I could return to that quiet evening, I would stay a little longer there, holding every second gently like a prayer within the air. Maybe love begins in stillness before a single word is said, in the quiet space between us where 1,000 feelings spread. You never promised anything that day, yet my heart believes somehow in the quiet of that moment we were closer than we are now. And though the years keep moving forward, that memory lingers still. Sometimes silence keeps a promise time itself cannot unseal. You never promised anything that day, still the moment lives with me in the gentle hush between us where our first love came to be. It was just another quiet afternoon. The sky was pale and slow above the street. Nothing in the world was asking to be new, until you looked at me. I remember how the moment felt so small, just a simple smile you gave away. But somehow in the silence of it all, my heart began to change. I didn't know what I was feeling then, only that the air felt different somehow, like time was softly leaning in. The second you looked up, that was the day my heart changed in the quiet light of you. Nothing loud, nothing strange, just a feeling slowly coming true. I tried to act the same, like nothing new had begun, but that was the day my heart changed, the day I started someone. Since that day I carry little things, like the way your laughter sounds and every word you say to me feels softer all around. Sometimes I wonder if you ever knew how a moment could rearrange all the quiet parts of someone's truth. The day their heart can change. I was only standing next to you, yet the world felt wide and new. Like every road I never saw was somehow leading through you. That was the day my heart changed, in the quiet light of you. Nothing loud, nothing strange, just a feeling slowly coming true. I try to hide your name every time it softly came, but that was the day my heart changed and nothing stayed the same. Maybe you believed it was nothing at all, just an afternoon passing by. But to me it became the moment I would remember all my life, because something gentle started there. So quiet I almost miss, but every dream I carry now still begins with that first glimpse. That was the day my heart changed, when your smile found its way to me. Like a light I couldn't name, like a door I couldn't see. And even now it remains, every memory feels the same. That was the day my heart changed, and I have never been the same. Yes, that was the day my heart changed, the day I learned your name, the day the world felt warmer, the day my heart changed. I still remember that afternoon, the way you smiled at me. It was just an ordinary moment until my heart changed. I try to remember every word you said, every step we took that afternoon. But time kept moving through my hands like light through an open room. Most days fade like distant streets, names and faces slowly gone. But one quiet moment stays with me like the early light of dawn. I still see the way you stood, not knowing what I would say. My heart was louder than the world in that fragile second of day. I was afraid you might hear every trembling breath in me. The world grew small and bright and still, the way a memory can be. I only remember the way the sunlight touched your face. Everything else disappeared in time without a trace. But that small and quiet moment never drifted far away. Of all the things I try to keep, that one moment stayed. years went walking down the road, carrying days I cannot name. Many seasons came and went, but that light stayed the same. I don't recall the passing cars or the colors of the sky, just the way you looked at me when I finally spoke my mind. My voice was barely more than air, but the truth was finally free, and the silence after those words still lives inside of me. I only remember the way the sunlight touched your face. Everything else disappeared in time without a trace. But that small and quiet moment never drifted far away. Of all the things I try to keep, that one moment stayed. Maybe love is only this, a moment bright and small, a trembling heart, a simple word, the courage just to call. I don't know where life has gone or where your footsteps lead, but that light upon your face is the only thing I need. I still remember the way the sunlight touched your face. Even now it shines inside a quiet, hidden place. Though the years have moved around me, though the world has changed and grown, the smallest memory of you still feels like coming home. I try to remember everything, but time carried most away. Only that small piece of light chose to stay. And when the evening sky turns gold, I see it once again. The smallest memory of you is still shining through the end. The sunlight felt softer when you walked next to me. Nothing around us was rushing anywhere. Your shadow beside mine, quiet on the long road. I remember the way the world slowed down. You said my name slowly, like it was fragile, and I pretended I didn't hear my heart. I didn't know then how much that moment would live with me for all these years. I still remember the light in your eyes, and now the afternoon held its breath. Something so simple was changing my life, though I could not understand it yet. It was a warm afternoon when you first held my hand, and the quiet sky turned golden above. I was too young to know how rare that feeling was, but my heart was already yours. If time could turn around, I would stay there again. In the silence where your voice began, everything started then, in that gentle light on the warm afternoon. The wind moved the branches, soft over our heads, and every small sound felt clear. You looked a little nervous, trying to speak slowly, like every word mattered so much. You said you had wondered for such a long time if I'd ever felt the same. I couldn't stop smiling, even through the silence, before I finally answered your name. The air felt lighter after you spoke, like the whole world suddenly knew. All of the daylight fell on your face, and I was already falling too. It was a warm afternoon when you first held my hand, and the quiet sky turned golden above. I was too young to know how rare that feeling was, but my heart was already yours. If time could turn around, I would stay there again, where the sunlight rested on your skin. Everything started then, in the gentle light on the warm afternoon. Years have been moving faster than we thought. Cities and seasons have carried us far, but sometimes the daylight falls just the same. And suddenly I'm standing right there again. You were looking at me with hope in your eyes, and the whole quiet world was waiting for mine. It was a warm afternoon when our young hearts believed every tomorrow would stay just as bright. Even if time has changed all the roads we have known, that one moment still shines in my mind. If memories can live past the passing years, then that light will never be gone. Everything beautiful started that day on the warm afternoon. Sometimes the sunlight feels the same again, and for a moment you're walking beside me, just like that day on the warm after. Every year when the air turns gentle again, I remember walking beside you. Quiet streets and the sky turning gold. I was holding words I never knew. You were smiling at something small, like the world had slowed its pace, and I wondered if you could hear the sudden beating in my chest. I almost spoke your name that day, but the wind carried it away. You are a memory like spring, soft light after a silent winter. Every step we took together still lives somewhere in my heart. Even now I feel that day like sunlight through open windows. Time And when you spoke to me, I had never felt that way. Like the world was opening wide. Every little word you said was a place where I could hide. I almost told you how I felt, but the moment slipped away. You are a memory like spring, soft light after a silent winter. Every step we took together still lives somewhere in my heart. Even now I feel that day like sunlight through open windows. Time may quietly move along, but you remain where flowers start. Maybe you never knew how close I came to saying it. Your name resting on my lips like a promise in the wind. If I could return once more to that quiet golden evening, I would finally speak the words I carried all those years. You are a memory like spring, the first warmth after cold seasons. Every step we took together still blooms somewhere in my heart. Even now when days grow gentle, I can almost see you smiling. Time keeps moving far away, but that moment stays with me. You are a memory like spring, soft and bright and never fading. Of all the days this life may bring, that day is the one I keep. Every year when the air turns gentle again, I remember walking beside you, and somewhere in the quiet light, you are still there with me. I remember the quiet light that day, your shadow moving close to mine. There was something waiting on my lips, but I let the moment pass us by. You were smiling like the world was kind, like nothing could ever change. I was standing right beside your heart, but afraid of saying your name. I held 1,000 simple words, they trembled in my chest, but silence wrapped around them all and would not let them rest. Maybe you could feel it then, the way my voice grew slow, like something fragile in the air, too quiet yet too sure. I almost told you how I felt that day, right where the fading sunlight lay. Your eyes were close enough to see the truth that stayed inside of me. I almost let the whole world know the gentle place my heart would go, but all my words just slipped away on the day I almost spoke. Time kept moving like it always does, seasons turning without sound. Still that afternoon lives quietly, every time your name is found. Sometimes I wonder if you knew the meaning in my stare, or if my silence looked to you like nothing waiting there. Maybe some feelings in this life are meant to stay unseen, like fragile letters never sent, or dreams that live between. I almost told you how I felt that day, while golden light began to fade. My heart was closer than it seemed to every word I could not speak. I almost let the whole world know the quiet love I couldn't show, but all my courage slipped away on the day I almost spoke. If I could walk that road again, back to that silent afternoon, I wondered if my trembling voice would finally reach for you, or maybe some soft truths in life are meant to stay unshown. A memory that warms the heart but lives in us alone. I almost told you how I felt that day. The words were only breath away. Your eyes were shining in the light, so close to hearing what I hide. I almost let my whole heart show the love you never came to know, but gentle secrets sometimes stay with the day I almost spoke. Now when the evening light appears, your quiet smile returns to me, and in that still and tender place, my silent words will always be. The day I almost spoke. The day I almost spoke. I didn't know that day would stay quietly inside my life. Just a simple afternoon, and the way you said my name. I remember how the light felt slow across the quiet street. You were standing there so close, but I could hardly breathe. I was trying not to show how my heart was moving fast, like the world was holding still, hoping time would last. Maybe you never knew how much that moment meant, but even now I feel the warmth of where you stood. Time has changed so many things, the roads I walk, the days I live, but one small piece of yesterday still shines the way it did. You were the first soft light I knew, the quiet truth my heart once found, and even now through all the years, you're the way I remember love. There was a trembling in my voice when I tried to speak your name. Every word I wanted to say fell somewhere in the rain. So I told you something small, just a fragile little truth, that my heart has slowly grown somewhere close to you. You smiled so tenderly, like you had always known, and in that silent space my world began to glow. Time has changed so many things, the dreams chase the paths I choose, but one small memory remains, a light I didn't lose. You were the first soft light I knew, the quiet truth my heart once found. And even now, through all the years, you're the way I remember love. I have walked through different days, different skies and different lives, but sometimes in the quiet night, your voice still crosses my mind. Not with sadness, not with pain, just a gentle kind of grace, like a story time keeps safe, no distance can erase. Time has carried me so far, through every turning road I see, but in the corner of my heart, you're still a part of me. You were the first soft light I knew, the calm that made my world feel new. And if someone asked me now what love once looked like too, I'll close my eyes and softly say it felt like standing there with you. After all the passing years, you're the way I remember love. Time may change the life I live, and days may come and go, but somewhere in my quiet heart, you're the way I remember you. I remember the quiet evening light, shadows falling gently on the road. You were standing close beside me then, closer than I had ever known. I tried to hide the words inside, afraid they might fall from my heart, but you were watching silently, as if you knew me from the start. I never said the things I felt, the truth was trembling in my chest, yet somehow in that fragile pause, your eyes already knew the rest. The look you gave me stayed with me long after we walked away, like a quiet promise in the air that never seemed to fade. You looked at me so gently, as if you understood everything, even the words I never spoke, even the dreams I couldn't bring. Days went by like drifting clouds, but that moment never moved. In the silence of my memory, your quiet kindness still improves. I still recall the trembling air, when courage almost found my voice. One small step was all it took, one fragile and impossible choice. My heart was racing quietly, every second felt too bright, and in the stillness of that breath, you turned and met my eyes that night. The look you gave me stayed with me long after we walked away, like a gentle light inside that never lost its way. You looked at me so tenderly, look you gave me stayed with me through every passing year, like the first warm light of morning, soft and crystal clear. You looked at me as if you knew every silent part of me, even the dreams I try to hide, even who I hope to be. And though the moment disappeared, your eyes remain with me, the first brave spark of love I knew, the truth I couldn't speak. Sometimes I close my eyes at night and find that quiet memory. The look you gave me still lives in me. Quiet light falling on the road again. Sometimes I walk the road we used to know, slow steps where summer shadows grow. Your quiet laugh still lingers there, like something soft in evening air. I never came here just to cry, I only pass and wonder why. A small hello lives in my mind, a simple day we left behind. Do you remember how it felt, the moment words began to melt? My trembling voice, your patient eyes, a fragile truth beneath the sky. You were the first to know my heart, the first soft spark inside the dark. Even though the years may move, but time still keeps the memory of us. And when the night is calm and slow, your quiet smile begins to glow. Not a loss, not something gone, just a light the past lives on. Sometimes I pass the turning street where shy hellos and silence meet. I see a girl I used to be, standing there so nervously. She held a word she could not hide, her hopeful hands, her racing mind. The world was small, the sky was wide, the day I stood there by your side. I said your name so quietly, afraid of what your eyes might see. But in that pause my heart could tell, a gentle story slowly fell. You were the first to know my heart, the first soft spark inside the dark. You were the first to know my heart, the first soft spark inside the dark. Even now the years may move, but time still keeps the memory of us. And when the night is calm and slow, your quiet smile begins to glow. Not a loss, not something gone, just a light the past lives on. If I could speak to you once more, I would not ask for anything. Those quiet days were more than dreams, they were the truth of everything. I carry them like evening light, a fading gold that still feels warm. Some loves are not meant to remain, but still they gently shape our form. You were the first to know my heart, the first soft spark inside the dark. Even now the years may move, but time still keeps the memory of us. memory of us. I remember the evening light on your face, how the world slowed down in that quiet place. I stood beside you with words I couldn't say, but my heart was speaking anyway. Your laughter drifted through the air. I wondered if you felt it there. The silent warmth between us two, the truth my eyes already knew. I tried to keep it hidden in my chest, like a fragile secret needing rest. But every moment close to you made the quiet feeling grow. My heart already spoken before I did, even when I stayed silent beside you. Some feelings shine quietly, like a light that no one sees, but it glows in every memory. If I never found the courage then, still my heart was telling you. In the quiet space between us, I was always loving you. Days kept moving like a gentle tide, still that moment stayed alive inside. Every glance that passed your way carried words I couldn't say. Sometimes love arrives so slow, like falling light on winter snow. You never asked and I never told, but the feeling never let me go. Every step I walk with you felt like standing close to truth. Though the silence filled the air, my heart was always there. My heart had already spoken before I did, even when I stayed silent beside you. Some feelings shine quietly, like a light that no one sees, but it glows in every memory. If I never found the courage then, still my heart was telling you. In the quiet space between us, I was always loving you. Maybe you never heard the sound of my hope rising without a word, but love does not always need a voice. Sometimes silence is the choice. Even now across the years, through the calm and through the tears, that small moment still remains, soft and shining through the days. My heart had already spoken before I did, even when I stayed silent beside you. Some feelings shine quietly, brighter than they seem to be, living gently memory. If the world forgets that day, still the truth will always stay. In the quiet space between us, my heart was calling you. Some feelings shine quietly, even when no words appear. In the quiet confession still lives here. I remember how the evening fell, light upon the quiet street. You were standing close to me with words you could not keep. Your eyes were full of trembling light, mine were looking between your breath and mine, a moment hanging in the air, a fragile line in time. Even after all this time, your memory still feels alive in me, like a quiet breath that moves the air, soft and endlessly. I still hear the way you said my name, like it meant the world to you. Though the years have drifted far away, that moment still feels true. You said the words so carefully, as if the night might break. I felt my heartbeat answering each promise in your voice. I never knew how love could start, so quietly and slow. Just a simple trembling line I was afraid to show. The sky was holding every star, as if they wished to see the very first small spark of love awakening in me. Even after all this time, your memory still feels alive in me, like a quiet breath that moves the air, soft and endlessly. I still feel the warmth of that night resting in my chest. Some memories never fade away, they only gently rest. If you asked me now, I would smile the same, because love once spoken never leaves the flame. Every passing year still returns me there, to the quiet moment we both chose to share. Even after all this time, your memory still breathes inside of me, like the softest wind of yesterday, moving endlessly. I still keep the way you looked at me, safe within my heart. Some first loves are never lost, even when they part. Even after all this time, I can feel that gentle truth. Love can live within a breath that once belonged to you. Even now, I feel it there, a memory that breathes. I didn't notice the moment at first. It felt like any other day. The sky was quiet, the streets were calm, nothing seemed to change. But something in the air was different, something I could not explain. You were standing close beside me, talking like we always do. Simple words and quiet laughter, nothing felt brand new. Yet my heart was slowly drifting somewhere I had never been. Later in the silent evening, when the world day love began, quiet as a falling star. Nothing loudly changed around me, but my heart had traveled far. I didn't see it coming then, I was just your closest friend. But looking back I understand. That was the day love began. Since that day I keep remembering every glance you never saw, every small and gentle moment that became so much more. I tried hiding all the feelings, but they grew inside my heart. Every step I took beside you, every word I tried to say, carried all the quiet hope I was too afraid to name. Still I knew it from the start. That was the day love began, soft as light across the dawn. Nothing in the world was certain, but the feeling growing strong. I didn't say it back then, I was scared of where it ends, but every memory remains from the day love began. If I could return to that moment, I would tell you what I felt, how my quiet heart was changing, how the world became yourself. All the words I never whispered, all the dreams I never shared. That was the day love began. Still it shines inside my heart. Even time can never fade it, even distance keeps its spark. Now I finally understand why that day will never end. Every step since then began from the day love began. Oh, oh. I didn't notice the moment at first, but now I clearly see everything changed quietly. The day love began. I still remember the quiet evening light. You were standing close, but not too near. My heart was learning how to speak your name while pretending it had nothing to say. Your smile had a quiet warmth. It stayed with me longer than the day itself. Even now when the night grows long, it softly returns to me. I wanted to say something simple, just a small truth from my heart, but the moment felt so fragile, I was afraid it might disappear. Your smile stayed with me long after the sky turned dark. A little light inside my memory that never faded away. Even now when I close my eyes, I can see it just the same. A quiet warmth in my thoughts, the memory of your smile. I remember how the air felt still, like the world was waiting with me. every second felt so wide, as if time was holding its breath. I almost spoke your name that night, but my voice was shaking inside. So I kept my feelings quietly hidden behind a small smile. There were words I wanted to tell you, simple and honest and true, but the silence felt so delicate, I didn't know what to do. Your smile stayed with me long after the sky turned dark. A little light inside my memory that never faded away. Even now when I close my eyes, I can see it just the same. A quiet warmth in my thoughts, the memory of your smile. If I could return to that moment, I would not hide my heart. I would tell you how that small smile changed the quiet world I knew. Because even now, through the years, through every passing day, that gentle light from your face still finds its way to me. Your smile stayed with me long after the day was gone. A small and shining memory, still softly living on. Even now it brightens my thoughts, just like it did back then. A quiet warmth that remains, the memory of your smile. Your smile had a quiet warmth that stayed with me longer than the day itself. Even now it still brightens my thoughts, the memory of your smile. Sometimes I wonder if you knew how much that moment meant to me. But even if you never did, your smile is still here with me. Sometimes the days move quietly away, like they were never meant to stay. But somewhere in the silent blue, my heart still walks a path to you. I remember the light in your eyes that day, the way the world just slowed its pace. You said my name like it belonged to you, and suddenly I felt the truth. I was afraid of what it meant, but every moment slowly bent towards something warm and bright and new. The day my heart first turned to you. Time never asks what we wanted to do, it only moves ahead. But sometimes late in quiet hours, my heart walks back instead. The heart that remembers still carries your name through seasons of silence, through sunshine and rain. Though life keeps moving wherever it goes, the heart that remembers still quietly knows you were the first light, my trembling truth. still remembers you. Do you remember that evening air, the fragile courage hanging there? I held my breath before I spoke, and every word began to shake. I told you what I could not hide, the quiet storm I felt inside. You smiled like you already knew my waiting heart belonged to you. Years may scatter moments wide across a distant view, but every road I walk alone still softly leads to you. The heart that remembers still carries your name through seasons of silence, through sunshine and rain. Though time keeps turning and stories may close, the heart that remembers still quietly knows you were the first light, my trembling truth. The heart that remembers still remembers you. Maybe the world will keep changing, maybe our days drift apart, but some beginnings stay living like quiet fire in the heart. And even if no words return, and even if we never meet, there is a place where you remain, where time and memory still breathe. The heart that remembers will never erase the moment I first saw forever inside your face. Though years keep falling like soft winter snow, the heart that remembers will always know you were the first dream, my trembling truth. The heart that remembers still remembers you. Time moves forward without asking us, still my heart sometimes walks back to you, just to remember that beautiful beginning. The heart that remembers still remembers you. Not every love becomes a story people know. Some pass like light across a window. No one saw the way my hands would shake the night I let your name escape. You stood beneath the fading sky. I tried to laugh but could not hide 1,000 thoughts I could not say. Still one small truth found its way. My voice was small, the world was wide, but in that fragile moment I placed my heart beside yours. I told you softly before the night could fade away that loving you had lived in me long before that day. No crowd, no sound, no shining light, just trembling words and quiet air. Yet even now across the years, your name is still waiting there. Life moved on like drifting snow. Many roads we did not go. Faces changed and days grew fast, but some small things are built to last. Sometimes when evening settles slow, your memory returns like glow. Not asking time to turn around, just resting where it once was found. I never asked for more than truth, and in that single moment my whole world spoke to you. I told you softly before the night could fade away, the loving you had lived in me long before that day. No promise written in the sky, no hands held for the world to see, but something gentle stayed alive inside the heart of me. Years may gather quietly like shadows on the wall, but there are lights that never leave, not even once at all. If you remember even now a trembling voice, a fragile night, then you still hold the place where my young heart learned its light. I told you softly, with every hope my heart could keep, that loving you was something time would never take from me. No story told for all to hear, no shining memory on display, just one small truth that still remains, a love that stayed, a love that stayed, a love that stayed quiet, but never faded away. Not every love becomes a story people know. Some remain softly inside a heart. Yours became the quiet light inside mine.